Kastela's experiments. Perhaps it's the first Greek superweapon, and few know of its real history. The first Greek superweapon? What the effort to explore space or new technologies is to modern humanity was to the world of the 20th century the attempt to get rid of wires in its quest for communication. The race to be the first to build such a device was relentless, and while Marconi was ultimately considering to be the one who achieved it, another scientist and pioneer, the French physicist Edouard Branly, collaborated with the Greek state on the same issue. Through the embassy of his country in Athens, he comes into contact with the heir to the throne, King Constantine I, who trusts the judgment of the Minister of Marine, Mr. K. Karapanos, and gives his approval for a unique venture. It's called the Kastela experiment, after it was decided to set up the station in an area of the same name that's around the port of Piraeus in the port of Athens in Greece, and according to the urban legend and publications of the time, it hid many more secrets than a simple wireless telegraph. And since then, in Greece, the monumental Greek bureaucracy, the lust for formality, and the vacuum of power among the responsibles proved to be the biggest threat to the success of the project. The electric company publicly declares its inability to provide electricity to the station under construction, at least not as much as needed, a fact that forces Branly to request that condensers that could store energy be sent to Greece. But somewhere there came the involvement of the Piraeus Customs Office, which refused to allow their importation without paying the required fee. And this is because no one has previously informed about the use of which they are intended. Finally, a solution is given and the 5 boxes are received by the project managers, but which one, once again, gets stuck as the mayor of Piraeus does not give permission to carry out works before he is aware of their nature. So after he was informed and gave his wish like the rest of the agencies involved, it was time for the experiment to be implemented. The committee and Mr. Electrician. The experiment is under the auspices of the Royal Navy, which quickly sparked speculation about its purpose. What is officially known is that it is an attempt to transmit a wireless signal, an undertaking that, given the circumstances of that time, requires energy, synergies, and organization on an unprecedented scale. For the newly formed Special Committee, first-class officers of the Army as well as senior scientific personnel are being recruited. Professors and university researchers also offer their services, while the presence of Timoleos Agiropoulos stands out. He's a professor who at the time was called Mr. Electrician and is one of the pioneers of the idea of signal transmission without cables. News about the progress of the investigation is made public with the dropper. Initially, there is a talk of a failure of contact between the ground stations of the ships Achelos and Erotas. Later, however, in the press of the time, one reads that the official announcement clearly states that a signal was transmitted and received between the battleships Hydra, Spetses, and Psara. A land army in play, rumors about the true nature of the experiment. In the same time, and after the positive examples in the Navy and Army the Army also entered the game. For its own needs, they wished to develop a portable signal transmitting system, a portable wireless in a nutshell, and according to testimonies, things are progressing as expected and the results are considered satisfactory. However, some insist that the point of the Kastela experiment and its versions was something much more important. Anyway, as early as 1901, William Marconi had managed to connect the two sides of the Atlantic without wires by transmitting a signal. So, say the conspiracy theorists, what was the point of funding a technology that had already been discovered? The newspaper Acropolis of Greece suspects that Branly is testing, with the help of the Greek state, an instrument, quote, which is based on the principle of the wireless telegraph. Through this instrument, as it is said, the hailstorm or storm will be announced 24 hours in advance. So a weather forecasting machine? The magic technology. While impressive as an idea, it does not satisfy those who see something even bigger, something that Nikola Tesla might have envisioned when he was experimenting with energy and its forms, thus giving food to countless scenarios for his famous superweapons. At the same time, the content of the speech by the rector of the University of Athens, Timoleon Argyropoulos, throws more water into the mill of theories regarding the secret experiment. As a publication of Estias brought tributes to him, he had said in front of the audience that the purpose of the investigation was to discover the various pioneer of electric radiation itself in naval and military art, and showed that he could ignite many sewers at a great distance with a single spark without the aid of wire conductors. Another publication of the time takes it even further, essentially talking about remote control of vehicles and missiles as well. However, after the first decade of the 20th century, references to the experiment and its results gradually decreased and eventually disappeared. The wars, in the vortex of which Greece will also be involved in the coming years, give the opportunity to a hyperbole that had been discovered to make it its appearance. Obviously, due to the lack of use of such technology, one can assume that after all, the Kastela experiment either never had such a purpose or simply could not be constructed. As for Branly, he was nominated 3 times for a Nobel Prize, never winning it. In France, however, his work was recognized as he opened paths that eventually led to the full understanding of radio waves, and Marconi himself thanked him for his contribution. Mr. Marconi sends Mr. Branly his thanks regarding the wireless signal transmission, since this feat is partly the result of his admirable work, a job that did not work in Greece anyway. I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.